welcome back. Welcome back to Math with Gustavus. Welcome back again to the CXC series. In this lesson, I'll be focusing on substitution. In CXC, you're often given algebra questions that require you to do some form of substitution. Let's jump right into it. In this first question, we have A is equal to 4, B is equal to 2 rather, and C is equal to -1. So let's substitute. Substitute just simply means that we are going to replace. So A is 4, B is 2, and then C is -1. So we need to be careful when substituting that -1. So let's simplify this. So let's rewrite it first as 4 minus 2, and then plus, and then -1 is the same thing as -1. So it's simply 4 minus 2 minus 1, which is equal to +1. For the second one, we have 2 times A, which is 4, all raised to, or A raised to the power of B, and B is 2. So this is simply saying 2 times, in bracket, 4 times 4, which we know as what? 16, right? So it's 2 times 16, which is equal to 32. So the answer for the first one is 1, and the answer for the second one is 32. Let's look at some more examples. In this example, we have a formula which is F is equal to M in bracket V minus U all over T. So let's substitute. So this is F is equal to, what is M? M is 3. Then in bracket we have V. V is 2. Then it's minus U, but U is -1. So we need to be careful right there. Put that in bracket as well. And then put it all over T, which is 1. Guys, remember when dividing by 1, it doesn't change the numerator. So we can simply focus on the numerator. So let's simplify what's in the bracket first. So in the bracket, we have 2 minus -1. But minus -1 is the same thing as +1. So in the bracket, we're going to have 2 plus 1. All right. Then we can further simplify in the bracket, which is 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. So the answer to that first one is 9. Let's look at the next one, which is pretty simple, right? So n is equal to the root of t. All right, so n is equal to the root of t. T in this case is 49. So it's just asking for the root or the square root in this case of 49, which is equal to 7. That means n is equal to 7. So that last one was pretty simple. So the first one is 9 and the second one is 7. Let's move on to more examples. Now, in this example, we have x equal to 2, y is equal to -5, and z is equal to 3. Let's go on with our substitution. So that's 2 minus 2, and y is -5. Let's rewrite this first. So we're going to put back 2. Then we have minus 2 times -5, which will give us plus 10. So we can simply what now? Add 2 plus 10, which is equal to 12. So it's minus 2 times -5. That gives us plus 10. And then we add 2 plus 10, which is equal to 12. Let's look at B now. Now, let's substitute, replace. X is 2, and Z is -3. Then we square that. Now, this is saying 2 times 3 times 3. So we must work the power, the exponent first. All right, so that's 2 times, in bracket, 3 times 3 is 9. So it's 2 times 9, which is equal to 18. Pretty simple. Then for the third one, it is 7 times x. X is 2 plus 2 times z. Z is 3. And that would be all over y. Y in this case is -5. Let's expand the brackets in the numerator. So 7 times 2, which is 14, then 3 times 2, or 2 times 3, which is 6, all over negative 5. Now the numerator can be simplified to 20, because 14 plus 6 is 20, and then we divide by negative 5. Now a positive number divided by a negative number will give us a negative answer, right? So 4 into 20, 5 into 20 rather, goes 40. So the answer to the first one is 12, the answer to the second one is negative 18, and then the answer to the last one is negative 4. Good going, guys. If you believe that I'm adding value to your success, your future success, guys, kindly leave a like, share, and comment. Let's move on to more questions. In this question, we have P is equal to 2, Q is equal to negative 3, and R is equal to negative 1. So let's do the first one, which is A. So it's 5 times P, and P is what? 2, so it's 5 times 2 minus 2 times Q, which is negative 3. So let's expand the bracket. So it's 5 times 2, which is 10. Then minus 2 times negative 3, that will give us plus 6. So it's 10 plus 6, which is equal to 16. Let's move on to the next one. So it's PQ plus PR. Now P again is 2. It's going to multiply that by Q, which is negative 3. And then going to plus 2R, which is, R in this case is negative 1. So let's expand the bracket. It says 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. Then we're going to multiply plus 2 times negative 1, which is equal to negative 2. So here we have negative 6 minus 2. And this is equal to negative 8. Let's look at the final one in this section, which is P times R squared. P is 2, and then R is negative 1. And then we're going to square that. Now this simply means 2 on the outside. Then inside the bracket we have negative 1. We're going to square that, right? Which is negative 1 times negative 1. Now inside the bracket is negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. So that would be 2 times positive 1, which is equal to 2. So the answer to the first one is 16. The answer to the second one is negative 8. And the answer to the third one, which is C, is equal to 2. Let's move on to more challenging questions. Now in this one, we have A is equal to 4, B is equal to negative 2, and C is equal to 3. So let's start the substitution process. So A squared minus BC all over B plus C. Now A is 4, so let's square that. A squared minus, what is B? Since B is a negative, I'm recommending you put it in parentheses. Then C now is 3. And then we put that all over. B is a negative number, and then we plus 3. All right, let's simplify this right here. So it's 4 squared, which is 16. And then let's multiply the two brackets first. So put back our minus. So that would be negative 2 times 3. That will give us negative 6. And that will be all over minus 2 plus 1, which is equal to a positive 1. Again, our denominator right here is just 1. So we can just focus on our numerator. All right, because dividing by 1 won't change the value of the numerator. So that's 16 minus negative 6. So minus negative 6, that is just a plus 6. So that's 16 plus 6. And 16 plus 6, guys, will give us a positive 22. So the answer to that question is positive 22. Let's move on to another one where we have m is equal to negative 3 and n is equal to negative 2 rather, and p is equal to negative 1. So let's substitute. So it's m in bracket all squared p minus n, then all over 3p plus m. So let's substitute. It says negative 3, then inside the parentheses we have negative 1 minus 2 all squared all over 3p, which is negative 1, plus m, and m is what? Negative 3. So let's simplify this. So it's negative 3, then in bracket minus minus 1, negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Then we're going to square that. And then that's all over. Let's expand the denominator. So that's 3 times negative 1, that will give us negative 3. And then plus negative 3, that is just negative 3. Now for the numerator, that's 3 times negative 3 all squared. Now this can be expressed as negative 3, and then in bracket negative 3 times negative 3. And then for the denominator, we can simplify minus negative 3 minus 3 as just negative 6. Now for the numerator, it is inside the bracket now, it's negative 3 times negative 3. That will give us positive 9, and then we can multiply the positive 9 by the negative 3 on the outside, and that will give us 9 times 3 is 27, but because we're multiplying by a negative 3 there, it's going to become negative 27 over 6. Now this can be reduced to, you can leave your answer as that, or you can reduce it to 9 over 2. In fact, this should be a negative 6 as well. So overall, it's going to be a positive 9 over 2, right? Or you can express it as 4 and a half, right? So the answer is positive 9 over 2 or positive 4 and a half. All right, let's move on to more questions. Now in this one, we have a is equal to 4, b is equal to negative 3, c is equal to 12. All right, so let's substitute. What's a? A is 4, so let's square that. Then in the bracket, we have 2 times b, and b in this case is negative 3, and then we minus c, which is 12. So it's going to be 4 squared, which is 16. Then inside the bracket now we have 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6 minus 12. Now inside the bracket, that's negative 6 minus 12. Negative 6 minus 12, that will give us negative 18. So that will be 16 times negative 18. Now 16 times negative 18 will give us a negative answer. And 16 times 18 will give us 288. So the answer to that question is negative 288. Let's look at the question below, where we have L is equal to negative 2, M is equal to 3, and N is equal to 7. Now the expression is LM times, in parentheses now, M minus N. So let's substitute. L is negative 2, and M is 3. Then M again is 3, then we'll subtract that from N, which is 7. Now, we're going to multiply the 2 times 3 first, then 2 times 3, that can give us negative 6, then inside the parentheses. You could have simplified what's in the parentheses first. That's okay. Could have done that first, and that's the best thing to do in this case, right? It says 3 minus 7, which is minus 4. So what we have left right here is negative 6 times negative 4. Negative 6 times negative 4, that is equal to positive 24. Guys, you are doing well. And again, if I'm adding value, kindly leave a like, ensure that you share at the end of the video, and comment as well. Guys, let's look at this one. This one is a very special one, a very unique one. Here we have x plus 7, x plus y rather is equal to 7, and x minus y is equal to negative 3. And the question asks us to find x squared minus y squared. Please note that the question did not give you a specific value for x, nor did it give you a specific value for y. Now, if you look at the expression that's given, you'll notice that it is unique. All right, it is unique in that it is a difference of 2 squared. Whenever you're given a difference of 2 squared, you can always factorize it, right? So x squared minus y squared can be expressed as x plus y times x minus y. All right, because that's the case, right? If you look above, you notice that we were given x plus y as what? 7, and we were given x minus y as negative 3. So we can simply multiply 7 times negative 3, and that will give us what? negative 21. So the answer to that question is negative 21 because 7 times negative 3 is equal to negative 21. Alright guys, let's look at the question below where t is equal to the square root or the root of 5m all over 12n. Now where m is equal to 20 and n is equal to 48. So let's substitute guys. So it's the root of 5 times m, which is 20, all over 12 times n, which is 48. Now guys, let's multiply. So it's 5 times 20, which is 100. Then 12 times 48, that is 576. Now guys, if you know your square numbers, you will notice that 100 is a square number and 576 is also a square number. So strategically, what I'll do here is to rewrite the question using laws of indices. That is, to rewrite it as the root of 100 all over the root of 576. Again, I took this approach because I know that 100 is a square number and 576 is also a square number. Now, the square root of 100 is 10 and the square root of 576 is 24. Now, 10 over 24 can be reduced to 5 over 12 by dividing both 10 and 24 by 2. Alright guys, good going. You're doing a fabulous job. If I'm moving too quickly, you can always pause the video, take off the notes from the screen. Alright guys, good job. Let's move on to another question. Now in this question, we have r is equal to 2p squared all over n all over q minus 3. Let's substitute. So it's 2 times p squared. What is p? P is 6. So it's 6 squared all over q, which is 12 minus 3, because q is equal to 2. Let's simplify the numerator. For the numerator is 2 times 6 squared, which is 6 times 6, all over 12 minus 3, which is equal to 9. Now 6 squared, or 6 times 6 is 36, right? So it's 2 over 36, 2 times 36 all over 9. At this point guys, you can choose to multiply 2 times 36 or you can cancel from here because we have a product in the numerator. So we could cancel like this. 9 into itself 1 and 9 into 26 goes 4 times, right? So we are left with 2 times 4 in our numerator, which is 8. And given that our denominator is 1, we don't need to put that. We can leave it as is. So the answer to this question is just 8. Let's move on to another one. In this one, guys, we have a is equal to 4, b is equal to negative 2, and c is equal to 3. Where we have the expression a times a minus b all over bc. In this case, guys, is 4, so it's 4. And then in bracket, we have 4 again, minus, because b is a negative, I'm going to put the negative 2 in bracket. And then that will be all over b times c. Now b is negative 2 and c is equal to 3. Let's simplify in the bracket and expand the bracket in the denominator. If we should expand that bracket in the denominator, that will give us negative 6. And then in the numerator, we'll have 4 on the outside, and inside is 4 minus negative 2. That minus negative 2 can be rewritten as plus 2. So in the numerator, we have 4, then 4 plus 2, that will give us 6, all over negative 6. So we can rewrite this as 4 times 6, which is 24, divided by negative 6. Now 24 divided by negative 6, that will give us negative 4. So the answer to this question is negative 4. Let's look at the question below. For the question below, we have a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 3, and c is equal to 0. Let's look at the first part, which is 4a minus 2b plus 3c. So it's 4a minus 2b plus 3c. So it's 4 and a is 2 minus 2b, b is negative 3, and then plus 3c and c is 0. Alright, so this can be reduced to 4 times 2 is 8, and then minus 2 minus negative 3, that will give us positive 6, and then 3 times 0, that will give us 0. Alright, so this can be simplified to just 14, because 8 plus 6 will give us the 14. Now for the last part, guys, we have a raised to the power of c. A is 2, so it's 2 raised to the power of c, and c is 0. Any number, well, with the exception of 0 itself, raised to the power of 0 would be equal to 1. So 2 raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. It's very important to remember that law of indices, all right, or that law in indices. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I think we have one more set of questions to go, one more page of questions to go. Let's do it, guys. You are doing a fabulous job. Now, in this last one, guys, we have p is equal to 5, q is equal to 2, and r is equal to negative 3. Now, the question asks us to find 4p minus qr. Now, it says we're going to multiply 4 times p, and p is 5, right? So it's 4 times 5 minus, what's q? Q is what? 0, so 0 times r, which is negative 3. 4 times 5, guys, that's 20. Now, anything times 0, guys, we'll get 0 right there, right? So we could put minus 0 there or plus 0, whatever, and then add it or subtract it from 20, and we'll always get what? 20. So the answer to the first part right there in that question is just 20. Now, let's look at the second part. In the second part, we have 2 times r cubed. Now, r is negative 3, and then we cube that, right? Now, this is saying that we should multiply 2 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. That's what it literally means, right? We can put back our 2. Now, in the bracket, we have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Whenever we multiply 3 negative numbers, we get back a negative number. And then 3 times 3 times 3, that will give us 27. So the final problem is just 2 times negative 27. That will definitely give us negative 54. So the answer to the second part in that question is negative 54. Guys, we are at the final question of this marathon, I'll call it. All right, so you guys have done a wonderful job. So if you think that you have gained value so far, please leave a like and ensure that you share and comment. All right, so let's complete this. You have done a wonderful job, and thank you very much for being at the very end. Now we have L is equal to negative 2, N is equal to negative 3, and M is equal to 4. Now the expression that we need to calculate the value of is M plus NL all over N minus M. So let's substitute. It says M first, which is 4, plus N is negative 3, so I'll put that in parentheses, times L, which is negative 2, and that should be all over N, which is negative 3, minus 4. Now, let's simplify the numerator, which is 4, plus, and then we multiply 3 times, negative 3 times negative 2, that will give us 6, and then we put that all over negative 3 minus 1. No, negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. If we simplify the numerator, we'll get 10, because 6 plus 4 is 10, and then we put back our negative 7. Now we can leave our answer as an improper fraction, or we can convert it to a mixed number. So as a mixed number, it will be negative 1 and 3 over 7. Guys, thank you very much for staying to the very, very, very end. Ensure that you share this video with all your friends, all your colleagues, all the students, your neighbors, everyone. Encourage them to come over to with Gustavus, where math is interesting, challenging, and fun. Thank you very much for being here, and please come back as there are many more videos to be released in preparation for CXC. Thank you very much, guys, and see you soon.